Brand new episode of Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 15, episode number 11. And today is the 7th of April, today, 2024. Hello and welcome to the show. A different episode to normal. As you can see, it's still light outside because we've altered the clocks in the UK now. And I'm here at the radio studio at Plesley Vale, which is quite unusual for me, but here I am. And hopefully there will be people dropping by and joining us as we go on in the old chat there. I'm just going to have a little look and see if the chat is updated. Now, I've got a problem because it's on a computer behind me. It's on that laptop up there that I can't move at the moment. So I'm just having a little look. Oh yeah, so who have we got here? We've got Gambo's here, Wesley's here. Yeah, so people are starting to appear. That's cool, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to make it scroll down. Scroll up, will it scroll down to the bottom so I can see the Wesley says, was the telephone you were tempted by an ambassador by any chance? No, it wasn't, Wesley. And I wasn't tempted enough to buy it in the end because it went for stupid money. No, it was an American payphone, a genuine American payphone, not one of the fake ones. But it was a genuine chromey American payphone that was on eBay last week. I think it started at about 50 quid on eBay. But last time I looked at it, it was at £147, and I thought, no. I thought to myself, 147 quid. No, I'm not doing that, because last time I bought an American payphone, some of you may remember, it arrived here and I opened it up and there was no insides in it, at least not the correct insides. So I thought no. So no, it's not coming here. Not unless somebody else is buying it and donating it. Right, so yeah, we are here at the radio station. As you can see, it is all starting to happen. If I move you just very slightly, you'll be able to see a bit more of the desk and things that we use. But yeah, that is basically the kit for the radio station, and it is kind of up and running now at the moment. I turn you around. You can see there is the software that runs. This is a piece of software called Rivendell, which is free software, believe it or not. It runs on the Linux platform. These are running CentOS or CentOS, whatever you want to call it. There's one computer running these two monitors. That one that I've got the chat on for tonight at the minute, that is running Linux Mint. That laptop is going to be replaced by something else, but at the minute what that laptop is doing when the radio station is working, that would be the encoder. So what happens is the computer that's running these two monitors, and actually by rights that screen there should be over here by rights, so I'll put it over there. So the computer that's running these two monitors has got an audio card in it. The audio comes off of that computer through this desk, which is a Soundcraft Series S10 or Series 10S for those who have been asking about it. Quite an old desk, but they're fairly bomb-proof technology. They're pretty good, and I've got two of them. I've got another one for spare parts as well. It goes from there digitally, then it becomes an analog signal to go through this wonderful old analog desk. Then it goes up to this computer where it's digitized again, and then sent out onto the old interweb. So that is basically how it works. And of course, we've got various microphones about that that we can use when we want to talk and have guests on and folk like that. So yeah, it's getting there, sort of thing. I'm just trying to find somewhere I can actually put you at the minute, so you can kind of see. It's always a bit of an issue, that. You're better down there. Perhaps no, you still can't see really, can you? No. So yeah. Anyway, that is it. Basically, that's how it all works and stuff. Dominic is with us. I've just got my eyesight's going. I can't read it from here. Hang on. Right. What's saying? Oh, Dominic's parcel's arrived. It's a Wister 45DX field camera in rosewood. Whatever one of those is. I'm not very good on cameras. Here's a link to a photo of it. Now, I can't show you the link at the minute. But yeah, perhaps I'll try and show you that next week. It says, it's had a quick test around the corner and it's great to use. Much better than the old Press 5x4 camera he had before for landscapes. Wesley says, not forgetting the collection of pianolas. Yes, Wesley, there's 4 here now. They get here. He says, hooray, it now works after missing last week. He says, this Odyssey is not all what it's cracked up to be. Could be worse me get, could be on YouTube. Dominic says, the box the camera came in is very interesting too, with old British Airways stickers all over it. And Wesley says, did you manage to locate the handset brackets for the upside down 746? I think I know where they are, Wesley. It's getting them out from where they are. Yeah, I think I know where those brackets are. It's just that they're in a box that's below a lot of other boxes. And yeah, just so much stuff at the minute. So much stuff. In here as well, there's way too much stuff. There's far more stuff in here than there ought to be. There's 4 pianolas in this tiny room. We are trying to find a bigger unit because basically all the stuff has got to go somewhere. My goal, I would like, now whether this is going to happen or not, I don't know. I would like to open a museum, mainly for the telephones and stuff, but there's other stuff that could go in it as well. I would like to open some sort of museum. I watch people on YouTube like Adam the Woo and the Carpetbagger as well, who sort of go travelling across America and go to these roadside attractions that only seem to exist in America. We don't seem to have anything quite like it here. And they go to these strange little museums and things. And I'd like to do something like that, because you've got to think about what is going to happen to all this stuff that I've accumulated. And in here at the minute, because we're thinking of moving, it's just got piled high with stuff. So you can hardly get in. You have to kind of walk sideways to get into here at the minute. I've got a cup of coffee as well here, and it's warm at the moment. Let's see if I can drink it while it's still warm. So yeah, the radio station is kind of coming on, but if we're moving to a different unit, up the hallway possibly, or maybe to somewhere totally different, I don't know. But if we are moving, then we really do need to think about, are we going to try and go on air before we move? Are we going to wait until after we've moved? What are we going to do? I did have a date in my mind of sort of first full week in May, something like, is it Monday, May the 5th, for the radio station to start. But that is getting awfully close, awfully quickly, and we're just still not ready. I've been trying to get an FTP server working today. If any of you know a bit about computers, might know what an FTP server is. I've been trying to get one of those up and running today on a Raspberry Pi, and not had much success with it. Raspberry Pis are not very user-friendly at all. Miguel, if you think Odyssey is not user-friendly, do not ever buy a Raspberry Pi. Because these things that are supposed to be programmed on that, they're about as user-friendly as a chainsaw. They really are. So, I had a bit of a problem with that. Just look at what folks are saying. Dominic says, I wonder if you could set up a charitable trust for this museum thing. I've got no idea how you do things like that, Dominic. No idea at all. If anybody knows, get in touch. But yeah, I would need some trustees, I would guess, to do that. And that in itself is difficult, because you just got to have people willing to do stuff there. But the amount of stuff that's here that really shouldn't be here, because this is supposed to be a radio studio, but the amount of stuff that has arrived here is incredible. An interesting bit of kit that we may not have seen for the radio studio is this phone stood on top of this thing, which is a telephone hybrid. And what it does, the telephone hybrid, it's two little boxes that sit under the telephone, and these boxes connect between your telephone line and your phone itself, or if you're using an ATA, between the ATA and the telephone. And you press this button on this top box, which when it's powered on, it's not powered on at the minute, when it's powered on, that will light up, and then your telephone call is put through onto this fader, this green fader on the desk here. So that's a telephone hybrid that's been installed recently. But we are trying to get people at the moment to front radio shows. We're trying to get enough volunteers to front shows as it stands at the minute. And the problem that we're having is we've got a lot of airtime to fill, and I can demonstrate it if I show you what we call a grid. Now, a radio schedule is made out of events, clocks, and grids. An event is something that plays out. So it might be a piece of music, it might be the news, it might be a jingle or something like that. That is what an event is. Then you have clocks, and a clock is a period of 1 hour, and it's shown as a circle. I can show you a clock. If I go into, yeah, here's a clock for my afternoon show. Right. So there's a clock. So the red bit at the top, that is kind of the news coming in. Then the shiny bit is an advert break. Then the little grey bit is a link to a song, or talking of whatever description. Then the green bits are music. Then. And the dark grey bits are a feature we do call fact or fiction. But that's a clock, so that's a period of 1 hour. So you make all these for the different shows in the week. Now, if you've got a show that goes out Monday to Friday, let's say, then you only do 1 clock for that show, if it's an hour long. If it's a 3 hour long show, you might do 3 clocks for it. 1 clock for the first hour, 1 clock for the second hour, 1 clock for the third hour. So there is the clock for the first hour of my afternoon show and in the afternoon. And that is the clock for that. Now, clocks make up a grid. And if I show you the grid for PVR, here's the current grid for PVR. Now, a grid is basically 7 lines. A grid is a week. So it's 7 lines, and each line has got 24 blocks in it, and each block is a clock. Yeah? So if you look very closely at those, if I can show you closely, you'll see they've all got kind of names on them. So those yellow ones, for instance, are BS1 and BS2 each day. That's the breakfast show. So it starts at 7 and goes till 8. That's clock 1. And then 8 to 9 is clock 2. Yeah, that's the breakfast show. And in the afternoon that I've shown you is that 3 hour show there. And it's on Monday to Friday between 2 and 5. So here's the problem. All the red ones on there, all the red hours, are hours we've not yet filled on the schedule. So the yellow ones are the breakfast show that we're going to do somehow. The green ones are my midweek afternoon show that we're going to do somehow. The blue ones are a show called Dickley and the Iceman, which is made by a guy out, I believe he's in California, and it's all about sort of 60s and 70s California garage band type music. So that's the blue ones. The orange ones are a country show that gets repeated. That's why it's on there twice. And Dick Lee gets repeated. That's why his show's on there twice as well. But they are bought-in shows, what they call syndicated shows. They are. But the breakfast show and the afternoon show are going to be live. Now, what we need to do is fill up all of these red spaces, or at least all the daytime ones. So we need to fill everything on each day between the yellow things on the left, which are the breakfast show, up to where the blue and the orange are on the top line there. So we need to fill those up on each day. So basically we've got 5 hours in the middle of the day, in the sort of morning and lunchtime, to fill each day. And then we've got another 4 hours sort of tea time into the evening to fill each day. So that's the problem. We've got all that to fill. So we need of either people to come here and do live shows, or if we don't get people, then what we call syndicated shows, like what Dickie Lee and the Iceman is, and like what This Is Country Music is, made by a guy called Jerry Callan. We need more of those shows. Now, lots of people make syndicated radio shows. Lots of people have it as a hobby to make radio shows. But how can I put this? A lot of them aren't very good. So finding one's actually good enough to put out on a station that you're hoping is going to sound fairly professional is difficult. And even these shows that we've got, Dickie Lee and the Iceman and This Is Country Music, they have to be manually altered. Each show has to be manually altered to make it fit the schedules. Because Dick Lee and the Iceman, that show is way too long. It's an hour show and it's way too long, because we actually need, for an hour, we need 48 minutes, and it comes in at something like 58 minutes. So it's 10 minutes too long every hour. So what he actually did then was he created an hour and a half version that we could cut into two 45-minute sections, that we could then play over 2 hours. So that's our new 2-hour show. This Is Country Music. Jerry, who makes that, his show is something like 59 minutes, but it's in 4 parts, and there's a short part that we don't take. So instead of going part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, we take part 1, part 2, and part 4, and he designs his show so you can miss out part 3. He doesn't reference what's in part 3 in the rest of the show. And that makes room for the ad breaks. We've got to have the ad breaks in there, because the idea is this lot needs to pay for itself. It's not doing at the moment, but it needs to. And if we move into a bigger space, shall we say, then that's going to roughly double the cost. So it does need to start paying for itself. So how's it going to pay for itself? Well, it's going to pay for itself mainly with adverts, and also hopefully with sponsorship. So if anybody would like to sponsor the station, or would like to have an ad on the station, maybe you've got a business or something and you'd like to support us by having an ad on the station, prices start 10 quid to have an ad on. Prices start at 10 quid a week, or we're doing a deal at the minute where for 20 quid you can have a month. You can have a calendar month for £20 at the moment, to get your ad on the station. That's for an ad that plays out once every 4 hours. If you want your ad to play out more frequently than that, if you want it to play out once every 2 hours, let's say, instead of once every 4 hours, then you buy what we call 2 ad blocks. Because ad blocks play out ad blocks 1 to 3 play out in what we call hour 1. Ad blocks 4, 5 and 6 play out in hour 2. Ad blocks 7, 8 and 9 play out in hour 3. And ad blocks 10, 11 and 12 play out in hour 4. And in each ad block there is room for about 6 adverts. So you buy an advert in a block and you get a play out every 4 hours. You buy an ad space in 2 blocks and you can get a play out every 2 hours. Buy an ad space in 4 blocks, because it's on a 4-hour rotation. Buy an ad space in 4 different blocks, then your ad gets played out every hour. Buy an ad space in 3 different blocks and your ad would get played out 3 hours out of every 4. So that is kind of how it works, and we've designed it to be affordable. We're going to be pitching the ads and that to very small businesses, to small startups, to support us. And I could have said, oh, an ad's going to be 50 quid a month. But tiny little small businesses, if I pitch that to them, 50 quid a month is a big outlay to them. But if I said to somebody, would you like an ad on the station to help the station out? It's only a tenner or it's only 20 quid. Even individual people that haven't really got anything to sell might buy an ad space just for 10 or 20 quid, just to wish somebody happy birthday perhaps. And 20 quid, you can have your ad playing every 4 hours for a month for 20 quid. So I think we're unbeatable on price. And I've done the sums, and if we sell those ad spaces, we cover the costs. In fact, we much more than cover the costs. We cover the costs, and if we can sell all the ad spaces, we cover the costs, and we also cover enough for somebody to be here most of the time. Getting a small wage most of the time, for there to be somebody actually here rather than the thing just being on automation all the time. But it can run on automation, which is kind of what it's actually doing now. We're just testing it at the moment. It is playing. If you look at this screen up here, if you can see that, it is actually at the moment playing out Robbie Williams, She's the One. And if I put this up very briefly, you'll hear it. There, see? So that's what it's doing at the moment. It's playing out Robbie Williams. And then it's going to play. People said, what kind of music is the station going to play? It's going to be kind of middle of the road, kind of a bit Radio 2-y. The reason is Radio 2 is the biggest radio station in the country by miles, so they must be doing something right. So, for instance, at the minute, and the computer schedules the music for us, unless it's a specialist music show. The computer schedules the music, but we give the hosts some latitude on what sort of music they want to play in their show. So what happens is we've got a full music library of all sorts of different types of music, and somebody comes on and wants to do, let's say, a morning show between 9 and 12, let's say, in the morning, and their particular interest is, let's say country. We wouldn't let them play all country in a morning show because that would alienate people that aren't into country music, but we'd let them play some. So what we would do is we would say, right, in our library, you can tag songs. So that presenter would tag all the songs in the library that they like the sound of, that they would like to play in their show. They go through the library and tag all the songs they like to play. Yeah, I like that one, like that one, like that one, like that one. Not necessarily they're going to play, but what they would like to play. Then the computer builds the schedule for the show, and it takes a certain percentage of songs that that presenter would like to play, and it also takes a certain percentage of songs that are what we call playlisted, that are on the hot rotation, that are like either new music that's out now, or it's a particularly good track that our listeners particularly enjoy, and it intersperses them. So in that presenter's show, there might be, let's say, something like 66% of the songs that he's picked out of the library, and 33% of the songs that are not necessarily picked by him, but are the ones that we play all the time at the moment. You know, when somebody's got, like Kylie's got a new single out or something like that. So that's how that's going to be working. Right, I'm ignoring the chat a bit because it's behind me, so I'm just going to have a quick look and see what folks are saying. Wesley says, Dominic, have you done the Settle Carlisle? I'm thinking of travelling it this year myself. I've never done it. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been on it either. Miguel says, if anything happens to me, all my stuff and house will go to a good friend in Germany. He says, good to know, he will sort it out when I kick the bucket. I'm hoping you're not going to be kicking the bucket for a while yet, Miguel. Dominic says, I have indeed done the Settle Carlisle. Highly recommended. The bit around Ribblehead is particularly good, and there's a number of good walks around there too. Yeah, right. So not going on the Settle Carlisle, are you? Right, I see. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on it. I don't think I've ever been on the Settle Carlisle. Don't think I've ever done it. I might have travelled on bits of it. I've been to Carlisle. Yeah. Funnily, I was going to see Belinda Carlisle in Glasgow, and me and some friends of mine travelled up by car, and what we actually did, we kind of went across the country to Carlisle, purely and simply, so when we got to the outskirts of Carlisle, we could have a photo taken with the sign that says Carlisle on it. so we could give it to Belinda when we got there. But yeah, so that was my visit to Carlisle. A quick stop at the sign and take a picture of the sign, and off we went again up to Glasgow. It was quite funny. I don't often go to Scotland, but on that occasion I went to Scotland. I thought I really want a haggis while I'm in Scotland. Went to the local pub, thought I'll have haggis. What was on the menu in the local pub? Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. Not a haggis to be seen. So yeah, but so yeah, so I didn't get me haggis, but we did get Belinda's show. That was quite amusing as well. That was a big concert organised by a radio station, a big open air concert in a park in Aberdeen. Oh no, that was a different time at Aberdeen. When we stopped at Carlisle, that was when we were going to Glasgow. So I've been to see it twice in Scotland. Once at Duthie Park in Aberdeen, and once at a gig at I forget the name of the venue, but it's a big venue right in the middle of Glasgow. And Glasgow gets a bit of a bad rap, really, and I don't know why, because it was notable how super friendly the people in Glasgow were when we went up there. They really, really were friendly. Really, I mean, they say Yorkshire people that are friendly, don't they? But they were super friendly in Glasgow. Yeah, really, really nice bunch of people. Everybody that we met there was just brilliant. I keep drinking my coffee because my voice is the voice is going a bit today. So yeah, so we need more people to fill that grid up, to stop all those things being read on that grid. So if anybody wants to do a radio show, do get in touch with us. There is a website as kind of an amoeba of a website that is slowly forming for the radio station at pvrbroadcasting.com. None of that cold press business on it, just www.pvr, standing for Plesley Vale Radio, pvrbroadcasting.com. If you go there, you will see the kind of bare bones of the website, but we are going to flesh it out more as time goes on. So yeah, that's what's happening with it all. So it is all sort of coming together. Novo says, hi peeps, had to nip out to pick up a hi-fi unit. I was fed up dusting my large Sony hi-fi. Mine is the tape deck, still in for repairs. Wesley says, Aberdeen is one hell of a drive. And I'll be closer than you. Yes, Wesley, it was. I'll tell you what happened with Aberdeen. Belinda's show was on... Was it on a Saturday or a Sunday? It was on a weekend. Belinda's show was on a weekend. And a friend of mine, a fellow fan, lived in I believe it was Ipswich. It was somewhere out that way. I think it was Ipswich where we lived. Somewhere out sort of East Anglia way. And he'd got a BMW car, you know, not a new BMW car, quite an old one, but it was a young lad. Well, we were all younger at the time, younger than we are now, certainly. But he was a young lad, sort of in his early 20s. He got this Beamer, massive sound system in the back. When you opened the boot of the car, the speakers in the back looked like some sort of bomb from a 1970s like adventure show. It looked like a bomb from Thunderbirds or something. And it was the speakers for this hi-fi that he got in this car. So he said, I'll drive us up. So he said, I'll be driving past you, Andy. I'll come and pick you up. Then we'll go to Leeds. We'll pick up Rob. And then we'll just go up in the Beamer straight up to Aberdeen. And say, we'll go up the day before, stay in a Travelodge or something up at Aberdeen. And then we'll be there for the show, and then we'll come back overnight straight after the show. So we're back for Monday morning. So the show must have been on Sunday. So it must have been Saturday we went. Yeah. So it all went well. He came, picked me up. We went up to Leeds, picked Rob up. That was fine. Then we started the long bit up to Aberdeen, and it didn't seem too bad. I think we were in Aberdeen about 7 o'clock in the evening, and we'd set off from mine at Bolsover at about 10, I think, something like that, in the morning. So what was that? 12, 11, 10, 9. It took us about 9 hours, 8 or 9 hours to drive up. And we'd stopped and things. Not stopped massively long anyway, but it took us about 8 or 9 hours to drive up. And we got to this travel lodge, and then we went looking for this pub for this haggis and that, to have something to eat. And the show was an open air show, and it was a free show to go into in a place called Duthie Park in Aberdeen. It was organised in part by the local commercial radio station up there. And there were various people on throughout the day. And we didn't know what time Belinda was going to be on. And we thought, well, it's quite important we get to the front because we've come all this way to Aberdeen to see her. It's quite important that she knows we're there. We need to be at the front rail of this show. Imagine. And they built a big stage like they built for Glastonbury. It was on a similar sort of scale, this stage, to the main stage at Glastonbury. It was huge. And we thought, well, what time does it start? And they said, well, it starts at lunchtime, this show, and it goes through until 10 o'clock at night. And I thought, right, well, we need to be there for lunchtime then, because she might be on first. And then I thought, well, how do we get to the front? Because at middle of daytime, there's going to be loads of people in Duthie Park. How are we going to get to the front? I thought, I've got an idea. We'll go there super early. So we arrived in Duthie Park in Aberdeen at about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. And they're still finishing touches on the stage, and they're still hanging lights on the lighting rig and stuff like that. And we arrive there and plant ourselves there for the day. And there's like a crash barrier thing in front of the stage. That stage, then there's a bit of a gap where all the security people and that walk about. Then there's this crash barrier thing that you actually stand on the base of it. And the more people stand on it, the harder it is to push it over something. So you stood on this crash barrier, and it's got a kind of bar about that far off the ground. So we're leant on this barrier with his foot on the bar sort of thing, trying, because there's nowhere to sit or anything. The grass was a bit damp at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we're there, and we're watching them building this stage, and it was quite interesting to watch. And anyway, it got to about 12 o'clock, 12:30, when this show was due to start. And somebody from the local radio station came out onto the stage and said, "Welcome to Duthie Park." And welcome to the show. We've got a great lineup of people today. We've got yada, 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 yada. And then he said, "And now please welcome our first act, Blue, the boy band Blue." And at this point, the ground started to shake. And we thought, what's going on? And thinking back about it since, I realised that from 9 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock, none of us had actually turned around. We'd just been sort of leant on this bar, chatting away, talking to the guys on the stage who were fitting all the kit and that, putting the microphones up and stuff. And none of us had bothered turning around. Well, the ground started to shake as this guy announced Blue, and at that point we did turn round. And silently, or at least it seemed silently, Duthie Park had filled up with people, and we were there. We were the only idiots there at sort of 9 o'clock in the morning. But by 12:30, we turned around, and as far as you could see across this big expanse, this big grass park, as far as you could see, it was just heads. And in this field of heads, there was like a tidal wave coming towards us. And we realised then that there was something like, let's say, 5,000 teeny bopper blue fans all charging towards the stage. You know, sort of shoving everybody out the way. And we thought, when they get here, there's going to be a massive crush. So, what do? Nosedive straight over the barrier. Much to the amusement of the security people. Who normally pull people out of the crowd over the barrier. But we didn't pull all that. We just nosedived over this barrier. And just as we landed and sort of did a forward roll, the other side, this bang on this barrier. And all these people suddenly hit the barrier. And we sort of got up, dusted ourselves off, walked off to the side. So then we weren't at the front anymore then, because we had to go out the side and round the back. But luckily, Belinda didn't come on till 9 o'clock at night, and by the time she came on, we'd managed to work her way through the crowd back towards the front, and she was one of, if not the last act on. Well, she could have bloody told us, couldn't she? But we'd been there all day. But yeah, it was a very good show. There were all sorts of people on the bill at that show. The ones that I remember, there was Blue, the boy band Blue. Charlotte Church was on. Rachel Stevens was on. And Belinda was on. And there were others as well. But I just can't remember who they were, the others. But yeah, loads and loads and loads of people. But yeah, that was one of the crazier events that we've been to. Right, let's have a little look what the chat is doing. Gambo says it might have been the S15E11 you went to. I can't remember, Gambo. He says, sweet chili haggis is bro. Bro? What does bro mean? What's bro Scottish for? Wesley says, while I appreciate hi-fi equipment, I'm considering a Brennan B2, but I really need a new lawnmower. Well, if you need a new lawnmower at this time of year, you've got to buy one, haven't you? Yeah, got to get your lawnmower at this time of year if you need one. See, again, me being me, I've got about 6. Including a couple of nice old Suffolk Punch ones. In fact, I think I've got 3 old Suffolk Punch ones, because I think there's 2 that are intact and 1 that is basically parts. So yeah, lawnmowers and things. Yeah, I really do need to get out and do some stuff with the stationary engines and stuff, and the vintage stationary engines and things. But the weather's been so bad, not being able to get outside and do anything. It's just been so wet and stuff. So that's why the radio station is progressing a little bit, because when the weather's bad and you can't do anything outside, you come down here and start tinkering with this. So it really is starting to look quite impressive now, this. I mean, we've got all sorts of bits and pieces now. You see, we've got the mixer here, and microphone and the monitors above it, the main monitors. Then we've got around here, we've got the telephone that we can dial out and get calls and stuff on. Although actually it's not connected up at the minute because when they messed up the broadband here, the broadband that they reconnected didn't have a telephone line attached to it. I'm a bit knocked about that. This is the new computer. This is the Raspberry Pi computer. This is the actual computer bit of it. Those of you that don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, this thing down here is a Raspberry Pi. And as I say, it's causing trouble at the moment. And all in this rack here, this is, well, in the bottom there's in the middle actually, there's a CD player. There's a mic, sort of preamp thing in the bottom there for microphones. And in the top here, this thing in the top here is a compressor limiter, which does what it says on the tin. It compresses and limits audio. So if you suddenly start shouting, it doesn't suddenly go loud. It takes that loud bit down, and if you suddenly start talking very softly like that, it doesn't go quiet. It brings that bit up. So that's what the compressor limiter does. It's not switched on at the minute. If I switch it on, you'll see all the lights on it start doing things. If I put that fader up, then all the lights on that will start dancing. There you go. So the red is what it's compressing. So the green should stay in roughly the same place, the green. That's the idea of it anyway. I can't make it focus today. I'm having trouble getting it to focus today. But there, that's the idea anyway. You get the idea. The blue thing on the top is a thing called a scoop reporter. It's not actually a thing we use. It's just a piece of vintage radio kit that we don't actually use, but it's just sat there at the moment. It's a thing that you could connect up to an old telephone line, and it will give you reasonably good quality audio over an ordinary telephone line. So yeah. And then this is the telephone system, as you can see, with our good old push button phone on the top there. For those of you wondering why that phone is in that colourway, that's how it arrived with me. I'm assuming it's had a new case. It's had a new grey case. It's not a GPO phone. It's a GEC one, and they did these touchstone phones in oddball colours, in colours that the GPO never did, and that's why this one's Concorde blue. I believe it would have been all Concorde blue originally. So there you have it. So yeah, that is about that. So that's all the stuff. Do you want to see the player pianos before we go? Oh, VT machines. If you look up there, VT machines. Yeah. Loads and loads and loads of videotape machines. These ones are U-matic machines, sort of broadcast quality or near broadcast quality. These are U-matics. Load of candlesticks there that we are restoring for Fungi Phipps. He's not been on for a while, Fungi Phipps. I do hope he's all right. But yeah, Fungi, if you're watching, listening, whatever, then your telephones are still here, in the process of being restored. We think we've got a way of doing the candlesticks now. We think we've found a source of induction coils that we can use in the bell sets, but more about that another time. Some more broadcast video machines down there. Those ones are not U-matic. Those three down there are digital Betacam. So they're quite modern. Also, a friend of mine gave me this a while ago. This little radio, a medium wave radio. Yeah, nice little Bakelite radio. And then of course we've got some of the pianola rolls. This is the original pianola here. Then we've got the very sad looking barrel piano here, the street barrel piano that's in a real state. I bought this. I really shouldn't have bought it. I bought it sight unseen. The wooden case of it is in a really, really bad state. It needs somebody who's brilliant at woodwork. It needs a complete rebuild, this. If anybody fancies tackling a barrel piano rebuild, and you really do need to have some woodworking skills or be willing to learn some woodworking skills, then I would donate you that for free if you would do it. You know, if you'd put it back together. And that. Then we've got the pianola that was stored on a loading bay all through COVID, and that got a bit damp, and that is sort of playable. Then we've got the one that I'm still working on at the minute. This is actually the most expensive, well, would have been when it was new, would have been the most expensive one. This one's got ivory keys and everything. Made out of rosewood, we think, because rosewood fades over the years. That's why it's gone this light colour. If you look where it's been hidden, inside there, it's a much darker colour, you see. And then on this edge here, it's a lighter colour. And that's because it's faded. But this is a really high quality piano, this one. And then the latest one that's come from the Bluebell pub near Belper is this one. It was in the Bluebell pub near Belper until about 1980. Then it was when the pub was refitted, it ended up in a private house in the village just down the road. And it was there until I went and rescued it, and it's now here. So this is the one that we are currently working on, and it's as I say, it's having some work done on it. It's a Triumph Auto piano from London, apparently. So they are the pianos, but the place is just, well, player pianos, pianolas, what you want to call them. But there's also lots and lots of stuff, other stuff in here as well. Old radios, loads and loads of piano rolls. If you look at that lot up there, you see, up there. Which way am I going? All that over there. That's all pianola rolls on those shelves there. And in these things here, in these crates here, these are all telephones that are not on display in the loft. You know, when we do stuff from the loft and there's all those shelves, well, there's more phones that are not on display there. So yeah, all sorts of stuff, bits out of pianolas and all kinds of things here. This is the back. This is the bit we have to walk through, you see. This is why we need a bigger place, because it's very narrow walking through here. This is the back of the radio position, as you can see, and the old chair there that's very worn at the bottom of the chair there. But, we'll probably get that recovered, I think, 'cause it's a very comfortable chair, but it does need recovering. So yeah, that is it. And then there's the windowsill with Fungi's candlestick phones on that keep taking one and working on it a bit and bringing it back and then going and working on another one. And he's got some other phones as well. That's one of Fungi's phones as well, one of his more modern ones. But you brought them all up to us a while ago and said, can you mend me these? So that's what we're doing. And you may have noticed there's also a pink 746 on here. Don't worry, it's painted. It is an ivory one that's been painted. It's one that came in a box of sort of phones and bits of phones, and it's one that wants restoring, as does that red one, as you can see there as well. Right, so that is almost a wrap for today, I think, folks. It's been a bit of a different show today, but I was here this afternoon and it was getting a bit late, and I thought rather than rush home, I'll do the show from here. Dominic, Masquerading's GDUR King Class, says Bluebell Pub. I'll have to look that one up. Yes, it's near, it's in Belper. If you go, yeah, it's a little village just outside of Belper, and I forget what the little village is called. Basically, if you're going from Derby direction towards Matlock, you get to where the big mill thing is in the middle of Belper. Angle left there and go up there and keep going for a mile or so, and then I think you angle left again, and it's in a little village up there, the Bluebell. Dominic also says you've got a wall of pneumatics there. Yes, I have. Yeah, I'm going for the wall. I'm going for the wall. Like, you remember Kenny Everett's television program when you used to have like a wall of tellies behind him? I'm going for the video machines to go with the tellies. Gambo says I've got an O grade in woodwork, but not that brave to take that barrel piano. Shame. Dominic says my 5x4 camera is made of rosewood, and it's a beautiful rich colour when unfaded. And Dominic also says looks like that pub is in the posh bit on the other side of the river. I think it is. Yeah, I think you do go over the river to get to it. And Gambo says, any thoughts in Blackpool in case I missed any info? No, you've not missed it yet, Gambo. I believe I have looked into it, and I believe the bank holiday weekend at the end of May is an event weekend for the tramway. So I'm thinking that might be the weekend to do it. So yeah, end of May bank holiday weekend. That might be a day to do it. What do you think, Dominic? Does that sound like it might be a plan? And it's also far enough in advance I might actually get my act together. So yeah. Right. Okay, that is almost it, I think, for today. Let's put you back there a minute. Yeah. Jambo says, I've got a wedding that weekend. Oh, unlucky. Yeah, have you got the wedding all 3 days of it, or even? Yeah, have you got the wedding all 3 days of it, Gambo? Because it is a 3-day thing that weekend, because it's a bank holiday. So perhaps you could do it on a day when you've not got the wedding. Or is it a wedding you're having to go away for, so you are going to be away for 3 days? It's not very thoughtful on getting married when there's an event on in Blackpool, is it? Unless they are going to Blackpool for the thing for the honeymoon or something. You never know. Right. I'm altering my desk while I think about it. Right, that is about it for today. It's time for me to go on my tea. I've not had my pizza yet today. Thanks to everybody for taking part once again. Amiyette says, good night all, good items. Thanks, Andy. You're very welcome, Amiyette. Nice to see you here. Nice to see you all here, in fact. Dominic says, May might work for me. Potentially. Gambo's wedding is just sat, he says. So could probably do it Sunday or maybe the Monday. Dominic says, I was planning on doing my driving test then, but the test centre is fully booked up again. Beginning to be like that old joke about the Soviet plumber. I don't think I know that one. I may be hungover on the Sunday, says Gambo. It's going to be that good a wedding, is it? And Dominic says, thanks all, see you next week. But might be off the week after that. Yeah, I think we are here next week. I think I'm probably off the week after that as well. I think we're next week. We're at least next week, I think, but I'm not sure about the week after. There is a week that we are going to be missing coming up. Right, that is about it from me for now. Have a fantastic week ahead, everyone, and we will see you back here next week. Remember, if you want to know more about PVR, or if you're interested in having an advert on the station when we start, it's at pvrbroadcasting.com is the website, www.pvrbroadcasting.com. The website is just kind of the frame of a website at the minute, but it is going to bulk out more as time goes on, so watch this space for more stuff on there. Yeah, and if anybody wants any phone handsets, let me know, because I've got loads here. Yeah, under this desk. If anybody needs any 700 series telephone handsets, particularly grey or ivory ones, but possibly other colours as well, I'm your man. Right, until next time, have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye.